Pro Michelob Cup here at Oceanside Harbor in beautiful Southern California. I'm Beth Binger with David Stanfield. David, the competition's fierce today. We've got some heavyweights from all over the world.
Stubbies. The Stubbies event brings out the best in the world. It is a great contest. In fact, the Stubbies Australian event in Burleigh Heads brought on man-on-man competition back in 1977, and now it is a standard among competition format used the world over. And the best in the world from Australia here, a past two-time world champion, Tom Carroll, who's been a bridesmaid here. 2 second-place finishes the last 2 years. He's trying to make it into the finals this year, along with the points leader, Mark Ocaluppo. He's great. He's here. And there's another guy by the name of Dave Macaulay from Western Australia. He has won the last 14 man-on-man heats in professional surfing, and he is on a hot streak. Then you've got the Americans. You've got Brad Gerlach from Encinitas, California. He is on a stroke. He just wants to so bad. He won last year. He's the defending champion. And Tom Curren from Santa Barbara, California, the world champion. He's one to reckon with. Stubbies has a history of being a little bit different than a mass media event or something so removed. Can you put a finger on it? It's kind of a surfer's event, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And Stubbies have been with pro surfing since the beginning of it. And in fact, the Stubbies in Australia, the first man-on-man event in the history of surfing. That was back in 1977, and that, you know, they really set the pace, I guess, as far as, you know, being the original man-on-man event, and that's, you know, that's what we have today. And, you know, I've enjoyed the event down in Australia, and I've also enjoyed the event here and the Stubbies Trials event at Trestles, and, you know, they're pretty dedicated to pro surfing.
A great place to perform. Now, looking ahead all the way to the finals, how bad do you want to win this? Is it like any other event, or is there something extra?
I think there is maybe something a little extra for me. I've never really done all that well. I've done pretty well here. I've had a 3rd and a 5th. I've done well in the Stubbies events in Australia. I've won the last 2, and I think, you know, I'd like to do well here. I'd like to take to the finals, and I'll be trying very hard.
Stubbies in itself, I mean, Michelob sponsors a woman, but it's part of Stubbies. And I won the Stubbies in Australia at the beginning of this year, so I'm really looking forward to doing well in this event.
Every year I've been over here for the Stubbies, I've been impressed with the way they've run the contest. And this year is the same as in years past. They've just done a great job.
Rabbit Bartholomew throwing a quick floater in. These guys take off, and that wave will break in front of them rather than drop down around the section. They'll throw it up into the air. Do what's called a floater. Rabbit pumping his board. He's got an inside section now. He'll be moving his board. Formerly characterized by the deep Allen Bird channel bottom. He's riding a flat bottom right now. And there's Gary Clisby from Huntington Beach. Good big reaction by Gary. Gary's wearing a full suit. Rabbit's wearing a pair of trunks. What do you think that's all about?
Well, I talked with Rabbit earlier, and he's been really concentrating on his own sort of inner strength, and he thinks a lot of that has to do with his high metabolism.
Wayne goes for a big cover up on the outside. He falls back. Can he regain control? Yes, he's back on his feet. Incredible recovery by Wayne Bartholomew. Pulled into a tube, came out. That whitewater hit him, and he was just absolutely laying off the back of his board. Gary Clisby has priority. They're down under the 10-second mark. 6, 5. Can Gary catch it? 3, 2, 1, and he's up. So Matt, big moves out there in the last seconds. Remember we talked about it. Gary caught that wave with 1 second left, and he rode it all the way through the inside, getting a great ride. Rabbit, I guess he thought maybe he could have caught one after that. Beautiful way to finish a wave. Gary Clisby from Huntington Beach.
Great heats coming up at the moment. Shane Horn and Glenn Winton, both Australians.
Shane taking off, and he's up and riding. Beautiful low bottom turn. He'll try to stay in the whitewater and try to connect this. Look at him moving his board back and forth. The wave isn't even breaking. There's not even a breaking lip on that wave, but he's worked it all the way through the inside. Shane Horn finishing up his first ride, right in the shore rate. Great first ride by Shane Horn. Big cutback. Glenn will be looking for that inside double up. He had a beautiful reform, and he's got a great left standing up ahead of him there. Look at him snapping his board. 3 big snaps right in a row. He's got a beautiful reform on the inside. The outside, Shane Horan. Shane Horan's up. Beautiful low backside bottom turn. One of the more dynamic parts of Shane's repertoire is that low, beautiful backside bottom turn and cutback. He gets down real low over his board. Look at that, pumping his board, driving all the way through the inside section. That was an incredible bit of reform surfing. And look at him, he's got the speed on the inside now. He's got a beautiful bull standing up ahead of him. He's surfing halfway down to the jetty. Incredible wave judgment, gets a cover up and a floater off the lip. Great ride by Shane Horan, he's still going.
I think Glenn's going to spin and take the sand. Real late drop for Glenn. We'll see if he can make that. Falls with the lip. Big backside off the lip. And again.
Big figure 8 there. That was nice.
That's called a figure 8 when they actually complete a double 180-degree turn back and forth. That's called a figure 8. And we saw a textbook figure 8 there by Glenn Winton.
Straight down to the bottom, flying up the top, one of the best re-entries of the morning. Martin Potter, big move for Martin on the outside.
He's going to be trying to make that connection to the inside. Again, this was a board designed specifically for this break. And it seems to be working quite well. I saw him warming up last night. He was real happy with his performance. Let's see what he does here on the inside. He's got plenty of speed. A trademark roundhouse cutback. That's Michael Burness, Sam, all the way from South Africa. Oh, he timed that beautifully. I thought he was going to miss that off the lip, but didn't look like he could recover from it. On the outside, Great Britain's Martin Potter.
Now Martin goes straight down and throws it up in the whitewater, completely past vertical. That was past vertical. Radical, 2 radical re-entries by both.
Gotta use that one.
I've seen Martin Potter do that, Sam, in waves from 1 foot to 10 foot. He is one of the most feared competitors at a break called Bell's Beach, where an opportunity like that presents itself all the time. Martin Potter, another vertical off flip on the inside.
Look at the outside. All right, surfers riding back to back now. Martin Potter slips on a backside re-entry. Meanwhile, Mike Burness has a beautiful left lining up for himself on the inside. He's going very fast, looks over the whitewater, grabs a rail.
Recently, just to be able to connect some of these flat sections out there, a little bit more speed to it, a little bit higher rail. He tends to ride a very narrow board and real sensitive board, so that's mainly what we work on. We work on keeping this board sensitive, fast, and keep that ability to keep the board moving from side to side. And of course, the big thing with Tommy is his big moves on the outside, and we always want to make the boards so that they do that really well. They come off the bottom well, and they come off the top real well. We're just trying to put those combinations together, and he has a lot of boards. He goes around and plays between a lot of them. We do a lot of designing when he comes home. So.
Does he get nervous? He seems to be so cool, calm, and collected before and after each heat.
Now, Tom can get real nervous at times, depending on who he has to surf against.
Brad Gerlach and Tom Curren, you can feel free to paddle out any time now. That's the certainly come down the lot experience. Meanwhile, I believe this is our
Brad Gerlach, yeah?
Defending champion, Sam, Brad Gerlach.
Hey, you skaters. Check out the action out in the water. That's Brad Gerlach ripping his way through. He's doing a few edgers, a few bionic grinders. He hits a head dip. Goes for a gnarly sketch here on the inside. Beautiful off the lip. Brad Gerlach on his first long ride, and a hot one it was. He's a ring.
We have a takeoff from world champion Tom Curren.
Tom's up and riding, getting a lot of speed, looking for that big vertical re-entry. Nice cutback combination that marks the Curren style. Tom, you see him check over his shoulder there, looking for the reform. He wants to stay with the whitewater so he can connect the inside. He's moving his board back and forth. That was very interesting. Sometimes these guys just sort of check out of the corner of their eye. Tommy actually turned his head and looked in what direction he wanted to go. 3 big re-entries from Tom Curren. That's Brad, Matt. Brad right in the bowl. He's taking a late drop in the whitewater, going straight down to the bottom and off the top. Getting covered up with a little head dip. That was a little style there. Nice roundhouse.
Interesting move, that head dip, Sam. Usually surfers elect to weave back and forth and try to get the inside, but
Brad getting his head wet there, ducking it into the whitewater, showing a great deal of control.
He's really working the reform well. That wave a little slow in the midsection, but he's working the reform very well and gets a good long ride.
And yes, he's got it, Sam. We've got a takeoff from our world champion.
Okay, a nice little fade. Goes left and right. Bangs it off the top. Look at the spray he throws. Every move counts now. Brad has racked up some of those inside waves, getting some good maneuvers. Tommy on a set wave here. Look at him, light on his feet, moving through to the inside. You see it lining up. He's setting up for that big re-entry, and whoa, there it is, throwing a lot of spray. It actually rained back down on his head.
Tom Curren kicking out there on the inside.
Look at him set up for the inside there. Another big re-entry. Snapping back right in front of the photographer. Outside, though, Matt, looks like a big set. Tommy Curren goes for a late drop up in the whitewater. He's up on a left, and he's got about 19 seconds left. Brad Gerlach's sitting outside waiting for a wave. Brad's had plenty of rides. He knows that.
That late drop, Sam, very difficult, subtle maneuver.
We're under the 10-second mark, down to 7, 6, 5, 4. Brad's paddling for a wave. 3, 2, 1.
I've had to deal with Brad early in the rounds, practically every event I've surfed in. So that's one of the things that's hard for me this year, because Brad's a great surfer, and I always have to produce the top performance very early. So it keeps me on my toes, and I'm sure it's not the last time I'll be meeting him.
Okay, producing a top performance, a winning performance, letting your emotions reach an incredible competitive peak and just cutting loose. Are you going to drop down a notch or two in your next couple of heats?
That's a good question, and I don't know. Sometimes that happens, though. It happens where in a heat you go out and it's like a final, and then maybe you finally reach the final and you can't really put yourself up there again, and that happens. There were a few things wrong with my performance out there. I had a couple of times where I slipped off and I didn't get the right waves, whatnot. I think Brad had a pretty unlucky heat. I don't think he was too happy with his performance either. After coming off a couple of weeks of resting and then going right in there, I think I'm building up a little bit more and more each heat.
Taking off in the whitewater, Mark Occhilupo. Nice snap off the top, working on his backside there. Roundhouse cutback. I want to keep his board moving until he gets through to the inside. And he's got another beautiful little lineup on the inside there. See him check over his shoulder there, looking whether to go left or right. Looks like the right was a little longer. Big backside re-entry, Mark Occhilupo. All right, Dave's up and riding on his first wave. I was going to say it's really not a heat between Mark Occhilupo and anyone at this point. Mark Occhilupo riding by himself, but Dave has picked up his first ride, and he's moving through to the inside here. Dave, a very powerful surfer, carves long turns, gets a lot of speed out of his board. Perhaps not as vertical a surfer as Mark Occhilupo, but plenty of lateral speed, slashing that wave very nicely, riding it all the way through the inside. Watch him as he buries his rail, a difficult thing to do in these conditions. Occhilupo from Carroll, Australia, big backside re-entry. One of the most exciting backside surfers in the world. This is Occy's third wave, and he's got a beautiful little left line up here for himself. He's going to double up on the inside. Nice floater off the lip. Another whitewater turn. This is Dave Parmenter's third ride. Big backside re-entry up.
The hardest heat usually is the first one up, Your first round's the hardest one, and if you get through there, that one, you get a rhythm going.
The strategy, you're not on a roll, but you are. You're leading, but you want more wins. There's not that many wins you've had.
No, I haven't had too many. It's been different because I've won a AA event, and I shot up in the ratings because of that. But I'd like it to win a few more events, for sure.
The conditions out here at Oceanside are obviously different than what you got in Brazil last week and what you might get in Japan next week. Do you take a whole series of boards with you for?
No, I don't. The conditions change, but I only have one board. It's, if you change boards all the time, you got to get used to one board. I only have one.
Your philosophy now, going out into a heat, they allow you 10 waves, but you want to get 4.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you think about certain things?
Yeah, well, usually you can't catch 10. It's a lot of waves to catch. You only think about catching 4 good waves. Yeah.
Okay, the time limit, 30 minutes in these heats right now. It's kind of tight, but you're still trying for 4 good waves. Do you know what these judges want? You see these judges week in and week out. Do you know the moves that you can do that score high?
Well, yeah, you know what they want. I mean, they change, they vary, they change judging, but you've just got to surf your best and see how they judge you, you know.
The contest here at Stubbies, how bad do you want to win it?
Pretty bad. Yep.
Well, Jerry, sounds like we're going to at least have some surf exactly the same size. We're seeing West Lane tear across a beautiful wall here, so you're predicting the swell to remain just about where it is, so it looks like we're going to have some great surfing coming up.
Yeah, pretty much. Perhaps dropping a foot or so. It's pretty much the same thing you have right now, an occasional 4, even an occasional sneaker set around 10 high coming through, but the wind swell going to build things.
Dave Macaulay just recently won the Hang Loose contest in Brazil. Came out of nowhere and won an event. All of us back in California here, we had the results wired to us. Dave Macaulay first. Most people said, who? What? What are you talking about? Well, this is what we're talking about right there with that big backside re-entry. Dave Macaulay, the high young surfer from Western Australia. West Lane, he waited a long time for that wave and he got off to a good start. Look at the spray he throws to that whitewater. He's a big boy. And he puts his weight into a turn, he really displaces some water. Outside, White, Dave Macaulay. Look at this left, he's going to connect. Big snap, he could have done a floater there, but he elected to do that big radical snap. Macaulay riding the same board he's ridden all year. He rode that in Africa, he took it to Brazil, now he's riding it off Oceanside. It's an old faithful, and he's getting a great ride himself here. Yeah. Big slash.
I've known Dave for quite a few years, and I've surfed against him for a few years, even though he hasn't been on the professional scene. I competed against him when he was an amateur in Australia, and I've always known he's a really good surfer, and I've got a lot of respect for him. My strategy in that heat was just to hopefully go out and find the best waves, and I had some waves I was pretty happy with, but that one that Dave got at the end might make the difference.
It's quite good being a bit of an underdog, you know. You've really got nothing to lose, to just go out and if you lose, it doesn't matter. If you win, it's a real bonus.
Merrick Davis with a big rail edge cut back there. Merrick did a great job with the big floater re-entries on the inside. Outside of the set wave, Charlie Coon. So we have both young surfers riding simultaneously here. Merrick is going left now. Look at that beautiful left on the inside, streaking across. Really hanging in there. Big upside down re-entry on his first wave, Merrick Davis.
Extremely late takeoff there for Florida's Charlie Coon. He's from the Cocoa Beach area of Florida. The outside, that is Merrick Davis from Queenscliff, Australia. Really tearing it around. You'll see that characteristic Australian style, which is extremely aggressive, very involved, and very, very close to the hook. Merrick Davis moving under the inside, has a little pocket there. This break almost more like his home break than his own home break. Currently our champion is American Tom Curren, but you can bet every one of these surfers has his eye on the top. Having his eye on this wave, that is Merrick. In red. It's Charlie Coon. I'm sorry, that's not Merrick Davis, that is Charlie Coon. We're having some increasing glare conditions here, but it certainly isn't slowing down the performance. Cover up there on the inside. America's Charlie Coon.
Thank you. That is that's the creator of Surfline. He's up here talking to us about the 12th edition, and he's assured us that we're just going to get, it's not going to get huge, but it's going to stay about the same.
He's got a beautiful little left on the inside. There's that big backside re-entry. 2 in a row. 3. Barry didn't waste any time. 4 of them in space of one little reform on the inside. On the outside, Tom Carroll, late drop. Trying to connect those sections, has one good big off the lip. incredibly low cutback of Tom Carroll. He gets so low, it's hard to believe that he can still maintain his balance. He's moving through the inside. You see that double up forming in front of him. Now he's got a beautiful little left in the same place where Kong had his. Great roundhouse cutback. Big whitewater re-entry. Down, back up, through to the inside for a couple more off the lips. He's milking that wave for every little bit of energy, and he steps off the inside. Started out slow, but he's really coming on strong, while outside on the left, Tom Carroll's riding. Look at that direction change on the outside. Gary's got a wave through to the inside, though. And he's got another beautiful left reform. Look at those instant direction changes.
Stubbies event is special to a lot of people, to a lot of special people, meaning the handicap and whatnot. Jim Watson here, the director of the event. Jim, why a handicap viewer zone? Why did that come about?
Well, a few years ago, a good friend of mine, Gary Clisby, was in a tragic accident, and Gary had always come to the events as an amateur and when he was a kid, and I just said, Gary, you don't have to miss the event. We'll build an area for you, and it's just become a tradition since then.
So this area now, I saw a lot of students, a lot of special and handicapped people here watching the surfing. They do enjoy it. The atmosphere is great. And what is amazing now that instead of Gary Clisby sitting up there, he is competing in the semifinals this morning.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Gary, for those of us that know him, it's not too much of a surprise. He's got that willpower and he's got a strong family and he's got the support behind him. So it was just get over one hurdle and on to the next one. And I think he's just looking at the next heat now.
Briefly, let's talk about the hurdle. He was going surfing with his pals up in Malibu a very early morning, and a drunk driver being pursued by police. They were hit head-on, and he actually died 3 times en route to the hospital.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how many times. His wheel never died, and that's the main thing. But clinically, he was dead on the life flight helicopter ride to UCLA. It's unfortunate that it happened. It's real fortunate for what it's taught a lot of other kids around, and that you don't give up when something like that happens.
And knowing him today and how he's surfing, a lot of people said he is so proud and just so happy to be in the contest and surfing with Tommy Curren in the semifinals. Your feeling, you must be real proud about this.
Well, if I sign a check today for $4,000 to somebody, I'd like to see Gary's name on it.
All right, thank you very much. It's excellent. You do a great job here at the beach, and this is a special contest.
It's a good time. Hope everybody has a safe, fun weekend. That's about it.
So we have 2 minutes remaining.
Right now, up and riding, our surfing priority in red, that's world champion Tom Curren. He's up on the first wave of the heat, pumping his board. You've seen those waves back off dramatically in the flat sections. Tommy really pumping and driving over an incredible flat spot, man. I can't believe he made it through there.
I think I could. Last night I was talking about that with Tommy, and he was really going to try and increase that bouncing and that turning to get through that flat spot.
Set popping up, and it looks like Gary's going to spin around and go for it. Gary, the goofy foot, going left, heading for that bowl like I was talking about. Big radical move off that right. Recovers in the whitewater. These surfers trying to connect with that big outside move, and then the inside reform. He's got a beautiful reform on the inside. Gary Clisby really going for it here. Oh, and he catches a rail.
Right there, Sam, figure 8. There's another one. It's slaloming around those water photographers. And you see Tom isn't fletching, and he's going to bounce back and forth and swerve and stitch that way back and forth to get to the inside and try to set up a big wave on the inside.
First ball, Gary Clisby. Big vertical re-entry from Gary there, straight up and down.
Gary Clisby with a strong challenge here, Sam, from Rincon Beach.
Clisby up.
Gary's used to these great conditions, and looks like he's putting up a strong challenge here. He's got a nice inside wave. He's working it over nicely.
You're riding down to the south. There's that big Curren snap. People wait for it when you see him go low and slow off the bottom there, where he actually builds up that momentum and then rockets up the top. You can look forward to that big snap where he actually goes in more than
180 degrees turn that. He goes more than straight up. He's to the inside.
Straight up kind of describes the way that Gary surfs some of these waves. Straight up and down, a very vertical surfer. On the outside, on a nice clean wave of his own. Tom Curren, straight up, straight down. Both these guys really pouring it on now. Gary's got through to the inside. A little backwash there, and he'll finish off the wave with one more big upside down. Now moving through the section, Tom Curren, another vertical re-entry, a snapback. And he'll do a nice little head dip and finish up right next to Gary under the 10-second. Gary's paddling in.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to get another wave. 3, 2, 1.
Well, from a lot of the surfers on the beach, they saw that first wave. Was the photographer in your way, possibly? Did he, maybe not in your way, but lost your concentration seeing him on the face of the wave?
I don't know. It's all over now. I don't know. I was a bit nervous this first wave of the heat. A lot of things put together. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You know, coming into the finals, you had a lot of time to think about it. Did you change your game plan any? You've been surfing great this entire contest, and did you change it for Tom Curren, saying, well, I'm going to have to totally cut loose, or I'm going to have to surf this way?
I wanted to go out and surf a real solid heat, but having a really bad first wave, I got kind of flustered, and from there on out, it was kind of downhill, but I'm glad to get third.
Real happy about that, aren't you? You feel good about this contest?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy with the result. Learned a lot, and on to the next contest in Japan.
A lot of thousands of people on the beach here really rooting for you and appreciate your surfing.
All right, thanks a lot.
Gary Clisby from Huntington Beach, California.
There's Dave Macaulay, that young surfer from Western Australia. Look at those backside re-entries, 2 in a row.
Don't shake it.
He's on a real winning streak, Matt. He has won every heat he has surfed in throughout 2 contests in a row now, and he's all the way up to the semis. You can bet he doesn't want to stop here. Great opening ride by Dave Macaulay.
Both these surfers goofy foot, Sam, meaning that they ride with their right foot forward.
Wants to get a first wave under his belt. He's paddling, he's up, going on his backside, Matt. There's Tom Carroll. Look for that powerful maneuvers that we were talking about, and he digs a rail.
And he has priority. He's sitting out there. He wants this wave, another fast backside wave. Floats up over that section. Very sure-footed, agile young surfer. He's not the biggest bone surfer, but sure he's not a real powerhouse. Two in a row there. Dave Macaulay from Western Australia. This young surfer is really on a roll. He's going left for the first time. Look at right as he gets to his feet, he snaps a big re-entry and then cuts back. He's going to want to stay with that whitewater there, keep that connection going. This is the first initial left ride we've seen from Tommy. Ordinarily, he takes off and goes backside, pumping his board. He's got that inside connection. Look at that beautiful little glassy wall he's got for himself. And there's one of those big, gougy roundhouse cutbacks that he's famous for, 2 right in a row. One step smash. Dave Macaulay, look at him paddle, look at him churning into that wave. It's incredible he caught that thing, but he did. And now he's up and running. This is his 3rd wave or 4th wave, I think. Really moving smoothly. Look at him throw that spray through about 10 feet in front of him. Back and forth, up and down, moving through the inside, on the outside, a big set.
Like I said, dead flat. Next thing you know, the lineup's alive with whitewater. And slashing surfers. Dave Macaulay, good wave all the way to the beach. Tom Carroll, look at him gauging the wave, going back and forth. He decides to go backside, building up speed. You see him set up for that one last big re-entry. You can see that coming.
That was nice.
They come into the inside. The wave gets ready to close out. The surfer's sitting right next to it, in fact, and he's taking off on a wave. This could be a very important wave for Dave Macaulay from Western Australia. Big whitewater move.
That was a Clisby move.
There as he covered up to the inside. And now he's trying to make that connection, Sam, to the inside. Up and riding on the outside, counter-punching as 2-time world champion Tom Carroll. So we've got both surfers up and riding. Big inside move by Dave Macaulay. You see him, and on the outside, Tommy Carroll's got a wave that hasn't really broken yet, but it's lining up into a beautiful left. Dave Macaulay riding right up onto the sand. These guys have about a minute to go. Tom Carroll knows that this is a very important wave for him, too. These guys matching each other wave for wave. Only got 5 seconds to do it, man. 3. Can he get it in time? He's up.
job, Dave. How do you feel?
Well, I had a great start, and then I fell on a wave about in the middle of the heat and lost a lot of rhythm, and Tom Carroll caught up. He got a couple of good waves, and it was really close toward the end. My fourth wave wasn't very solid, and I think Tom's fourth wave wasn't either, so I think it'll be really close. I couldn't say.
Couldn't say. Did anything go wrong? What went right out there for you? Your game plan?
Well, I got priority at the beginning of the heat, which is good, and I got a good wave at the start. And Tom fell on his first, and then I got another good wave, and that was going great. And then it all seemed to fall apart in the middle of the heat.
Okay, what's been the key? 14 man-on-man heat victories. You're on an incredible string. We don't know about this last heat, but what's been the key for your great success?
God is my strength.
All right, congratulations. Best of luck in this heat.
Thanks a lot.
Dave Macaulay. And right over here, two-time world champ Tom Carroll. And Tom Carroll wants to get into the final to meet Tommy Curren. Tommy, you had some great waves out there. You had a couple falls, but then everybody out there this morning has gone down. The waves there, they're so fickle. They're kind of round. You really can catch a rail out there, can't you?
Yeah. Well, basically it's just really difficult conditions, you know. You've got to sit out there and wait and wait and wait. Let yourself all calm down. Not too calm. You can't be too calm. You can't be too amped up. You got to wait for that wave. It's the ultimate test in patience. You've got to sit out there and just literally sort of stop yourself from ripping your insides out and wait for that wave that Mother Nature's going to send our way. And whether it comes to the left or the right, you just got to keep yourself as sharp as a hawk's eye out there, and make sure that that water's not going to do something you know, aren't going to be able to see.
Macaulay's not sure what happened. He says it can go either way. How do you feel?
I don't feel confident. I couldn't get the set waves straight off. He had priority straight off, which gives you a bit of an advantage in the heat. You know, on an inconsistent surf base, you've got to go out there. If you've got priority straight away, you're going to get the first set that comes through. And the other person's got to suffer, especially when there's only one-way sets. So he's got to hang out there for another, possibly from 3 to 8 minutes out there, the set's coming through. That's the gap between each set. And when you ain't got priority at first off, you've got to sort of wait half your 30 heat almost sometimes for a wave, the next wave.
Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Tom Carroll, two-time world champion. He has been the runner-up here the last 2 years. He wants to make it into the final, but right now, the semifinal, tough matchup he just had. Let's hear the judge's decision.
Looks like a nice wave too. It's got some walls, she's working it. Keeps the board moving, needs a speed. You've got to pump that board. Pump it. Yeah, looks, maybe she's over the inside. No. Frustration. Kim Mirek takes up at the back. She's answering with a wave of her own. Flattens out a bit, but she's still going to weave it through the inside. Kim has this uncanny ability to make it through these flat spots. She surfs very fast and light on her feet. And she's right through to the inside. Look at the floater. Nice wave by Kim. She'd be pretty happy with that one.
And we have someone up and right.
Georgia Smith on another great wave. Nice cut back from Georgia. Moving right out to the side. Lovely. Great wave. Rolling up. She's got a nice section. Really excited about this one. Big re-entry.
And Kim Mirek taking off. Nice wave outside. And the first wave of its set.
Somebody's shaking the scaffold.
Right inside if she can. There's a really flat spot there, but she's bouncing. Looks like she's got the connection. Yes. Watch Kim streak through the section. See if she can get the re-entry on the inside. Yeah, nice little floater. pretty happy with that one.
Georgia Smith riding at the back. She looks like she's got another connection. Right through to the inside. Maybe the wave's getting better. Another wave, right through. Watching the inside section, big re-entry. Hands on, and we take the whole head. Nice wave from him. Get some speed, nice cutback. Keep it moving. Really bouncing. Looks like, yeah, this looks like she'll make it. She's right through. Getting some speed on the inside. And she'll go for the big floater. She makes that one. And there's 5 minutes to go for this wave. 12 seconds. 10, 9, switch to the riding. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Chimera makes it up on the way out the back. Let's see if she can make it through. Still riding up to the corner. It's Chimera. Let's see. Looks like she's got the connection. George will be watching this one. Going to hit over and Kim's still riding. Stretching it off the inside. A nice way to finish your grand final.
Kim, how do you think you did? It seems like it's real close.
It's hard to say. It was so frustrating out there. There wasn't any waves about the first half hour of the heat, and the whole heat was just there at the end. That was the best waves of the whole heat, so it's up to see. I don't know how she did.
Well, the heat started off pretty slow and kind of came on towards the end with that reform kind of gave both of us a lot of trouble, and so I don't know how it's going to go. So.
How does that affect your strategy when the waves are so inconsistent? How do you deal with that when you're out there?
Well, luckily this was an hour heat, so it's pretty easy to pace ourselves for just 6 waves. So I don't know. I just tried to pace myself and, you know, tried to get the sets, biggest waves. So.
Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
On the first wave, we have Tom Curren. He's fading, going left, banging it off the top with a big re-entry. And he'll pump and drive his board through the whitewater. On the outside, all by
Which way?
Tom Carroll. He'll be following up, so we get simultaneous rides. A big re-entry for Tom Carroll as well. Tom Curren on the inside, floating over the section, moving through. Another big re-entry on the inside, floating down. Great ride, moving his board back and forth, out the back. And he's faced now Tom Carroll. Tom Carroll matching Tommy move for move with those big re-entries.
Steady up.
They're ending up within inches of each other after 2 separate waves. Back-to-back rides for these great champions. He's going to want to stay in the whitewater there. That's where the wave's the fastest, where it's still breaking. These back-off conditions, very treacherous. He's pumping his board, driving, trying to get through to the inside, and it looks like he's not going to have any problem there, man. He's through to the inside. He's got the racetrack. He's stopping a big floating re-entry.
Another one that's probably exciting right here, Sam. Tom Carroll showing a great deal of wave judgment and using his priority. Bash off too, think vertical off lips. And Sam, it truly is quite a clash of the titans. 2 world champions just really showing us what championship surfing is all about here. This is Tom Carroll. He's moved his way onto the inside. It's his 3rd vertical snap.
Roundhouse cutback on the outside. They're riding back to back. No, Tommy Carroll decides not to take it. There he is right now, riding on his backside. Big re-entry. Look at that. Matt, that was past vertical.
No doubt about that, Sam. And it's the new surfboard design that allowed these surfers to get actually upside down out there.
Which way?
Gravity. Another takeoff on the outside. World champion Tom Carroll.
Tom Curren answering with an off the lip of his own. Both surfers up and riding. One goofy foot, one regular foot.
A great time to compare these great styles of 2 great champions.
Okay, you see Tom Carroll on the inside there. He missed a re-entry like that earlier. That time he actually got lower to his board and he pulled it off. Tom Curren outside wanting to finish away. Big backside re-entry. Look at that figure eight. Front side, front side again. And look, he's heading right for Tom. He kicks out right in front of him. Another great exchange from these two champions. And look at him hustling back out to the lineup.
It's going to be a race for that priority buoy, Sam. There's no doubt about that. Both these surfers incredibly fit, but I'll tell you something. These tricky conditions out here can really affect that. We see Tom Curren churning his way out, Tom Carroll paddling as well.
Curren does have priority. He's paddling, and he's up and into it, and he's riding. He's got another right. These guys methodically racking up these waves. Big snap on the inside. Floats over the whitewater. Look how effortlessly Curren floats over that whitewater. When he heads up over it, underweights his board, and actually gains speed in the whitewater. There's a lot more air in the water. When it breaks like that, and he can actually build up speed because there's less resistance. Another big snap, another textbook ride. Tom Carroll up on his fourth ride. Big backside slash. That powerful low center of gravity that he uses to drive his board through to the inside. The wave is fading out. Can Tommy stay with it?
I've been riding here. American world champion Tom Curren. Setting up the big off the lip. Trademark front side off the lip by Tom Curren. Stitching his board back and forth. Hopping, trying to make it to the inside. Section of the inside. And 360 attempt.
Yeah, hold still. Coming up on his fifth ride, Tom Carroll. He's trying to fill it that way. He knows he's got to get through that inside. Look at delicately balancing his board. He made it through the inside connection. Now he's got some room to move. There's one of those big snapbacks. Hitting it an inside pole, another big re-entry. Drops through with the lip. Finish off with a whitewater move. Tommy Curren, he's paddling. Yep, he's up and riding. Up to the right, now on the bottom. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it, Matt. That's it for the grand final. How about a great big hand for these two fine competitors? Champions each.
Tom Carroll, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how do you think we got these stickers?
We got plenty of action coming our way. That's Tom Carroll. He's making his way to the scaffold.
Yeah, you got it.
An enormously popular champion. Current American world champion. Of course, the youngest world champion ever. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Tom Curren. Okay, let's talk about paper time. We've got a great day. We timed the final so that we're going to have plenty of time to enjoy the rest of the day here at the beach. A lot of times these contests get over like right about 5 o'clock in the evening where it's cool. But we're all wrapped up here and it's barely noon. We're going to have plenty. This is Stubby's third contest here in Oceanside. And we're real proud to be bringing it to you. So we asked California Tour 91 to get together and put on something special. Well, this is the time that we've all been waiting for, so to speak. When you think about it, we started out a week ago with a lot of hungry surfers, a lot of hungry spectators as well. But now it's all over. And there's always sort of a feeling of anticlimax at this stage, but that's going to come after the cheering has died down for these true champions. Actually, we have 4 great champions up here, the 4 finalists, 2 in the women, 2 in the men. The Stubbies is a real special event, especially from the surfers. You can feel the spirit and feel the vibes. And it's not just the surfers, it's all the people that come, all the people that are part of this great event. You can feel it. And there's no other way to put it, actually, than that the Stubbies Pro is a surfers contest. And that's the vibe, and that's the spirit, and that's what we're all about. And we'd just like to thank you all for being a part of it. Okay, so the awards, they're coming down now. We won't keep you waiting any longer. And before we get right into that, though, I'd like to introduce a man that has been working tirelessly this whole week. Applause for Mr. Gary Linden. He did a great job. Right on, Gary.
Thanks, Sam. Thank all of you for coming. I hope you had a good time. On behalf of Stubbies and all the rest of our sponsors, we'd like to call out Mayor Bagley of Oceanside. Bagley presenting the trophies. I'll turn it over to Mayor Bagley now.
I get to announce the winners here. Well, it's been a tremendous competition. It's been a tremendous week. And you've been a tremendously good crowd. Let me thank you on behalf of the City of Oceanside. Now I think you're waiting to hear who is the winner of the Michelob Cup. I have Georgia on my mind. Georgia Smith, 5-0. You won?
Well, on behalf of the Michelob Cup, I think Georgia and Kim are pretty surprised by that bottle opening. But we have 2 checks, one for Kim Merrick and one for Georgia Smith, and we're really happy to be part of this Stubbies event.
Georgia, this is your first pro win. I am so excited for you.
Me too. I'm really excited. You know, I've been waiting a long time. But, you know, this is the beginning of my 2nd year on the tour, and you know, I think finally, you know, something's going to happen.
You notice they don't give me the check to give to them. I wonder about that. Tommy Carroll, this is the 3rd time we've been up here together. Good to see you again. Tommy? Oh, okay. Well, I do get to make the cash award this time. Well, Mr. Carroll, you and I, as I said, have been up here 3 times, and I hope we get up here a 4th time, because this time we have to give the first prize to Tommy Curren.
Big round of applause for former 2-time world champion Tom Carroll, 2nd place, a great performance.
What happened out there was basically it was a great heat, I guess, up until about halfway through, and the surf kind of disintegrated. Fortunately enough, I was able to find the right peaks at the beginning of the heat, and I found the good momentum and carried it right through.
Yeah, look that way. Tommy Carroll, you probably spent more time surfing out there alone than anyone since Phil Edwards. How do you like the surf here in Oceanside?
Man, it's certainly the most frustrating way I've ever surfed, but it's a very successful spot for me, but I don't know, that file is very, very hard. The second half, I felt very strong at the beginning. I couldn't find the waves. I actually paddled over to the North Peak, said I'd come over on the south, and paddle over to the south and then turn up on the north. So,
a partisan set out there, obviously. Well, listen, we're going to see you here next year in the final?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Oceanside.
And so that's it for the 1986 Stubbies Pro.
Congratulations going to Tom Curren. I don't know if you've seen the board over there, but you've now moved into the lead in the points ratings on the World Tour. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
Okay, now you're in the lead. To stay there, you've got to surf consistently. You've done it all week long here at the Stubbies, but what was the turning point? One heat that stands out in your mind?
Well, that's hard to say. I think I was looking at Martin Potter as being a real threat in this contest. Maybe that was probably the heat that I knew I had to get through, and if I could get through that one, I might go all the way.
And you know, and you've said it in past interviews, that you can let yourself down after you do conquer a Martin Potter, and you don't look that far ahead. Okay, Tom Carroll, he came on so strong. Did you feel that he was beating you in the first 15, 20 minutes? A lot of people said, hey, he's got the upper hand on Curren, leading 15 minutes into this final.
Yeah, I started out with priority. I had the first wave, and I think my wave was maybe a little bit inferior to his first wave, and then I came right out, got my second wave, which was a smaller wave, and he came back with a better wave by far than my second one. So at that point, it was pretty, you know, he was definitely in the lead, and you know, I guess one thing I really looked at was that you need the 6 waves and the 6 real strong ones to get through, and I worked on that. Fortunately for me, he spent a lot of time sitting and waiting while I fortunately found the right peak. So that was really where I guess the whole thing turned.
The key to surfing out there, obviously these waves are different. There is a flat spot in there. Was it not catching a rail and trying to keep your speed up?
Yeah, that's true. And you know, the equipment I have for this contest was really really made for getting across those flat sections, and you know, maintaining a bit of speed, even though the wave would get pretty slow. So you know, that's the one thing that I guess I had in my favor is you know, is that and just maybe finding the right waves and being able to glide all the way through.
Congratulations on a phenomenal year so far in all the contests Tommy's been in. He's had a third, and the rest have been first places. That's quite an attribute. And anything you can say, is it just a whole new spirited? Is it mental or physical?
It's both. I think you know, I think it has a lot to do with what I did in France. I did a lot of training, and you know, physically, if you can count on yourself physically, then you can go out and do anything your mind tells you to. So that it's, I guess, a combination of both.
Let's add a little point here. Your wife has been surfing in the World Amateur Championships in England. Did she give you a call? How'd she do?
She called, but I missed it. I was here competing, so I'm sort of touch and go. I don't really know what happened over there, so I'm gonna head home and try and find out.
Well, you've got news for her.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Tommy Curren winning here at the Stubbies. Third place last year, first place this year, now currently leading in the World Tour.